All right, so we're here at the Outdoor Retailer Show with one of our nonprofit partners, the Adventurers and Scientists for Conservation, founder and executive director, Gregg Treinish. How are you, Greg?
Great. Thanks so much for having me, Benji.
Absolutely. And to start out, not only are you the founder of this amazing organization, but you are a National Geographic Adventurer of the Year.
Yeah.
Talk about how did Adventurers and Scientists for Conservation evolve? How did it come to be?
Yeah, my early expeditions, I spent years of my life walking around the backcountry and exploring the woods, and I constantly felt this feeling like I just wanted to be doing more with my time. I loved the places I was visiting, but I wasn't benefiting them. And when I finally found the sciences, I started working as a wildlife biologist tracking lynx and wolverines and grizzly bears up in Montana. I was outside, I was doing what I loved, I was exploring and seeing new places, but I was doing it for a purpose and for the benefit of something. And the more I started talking about that experience with my friends that I had met through National Geographic and other groups I worked with, I saw that was pretty widely shared. My fellow adventurers and friends all had that same feeling of wanting to do more with their time. And so I very quickly realized that, the tens of thousands of people that go outside every single day could be harnessed to benefit a planet that we just don't know that much about.
That's so cool. So tell us a little bit about some of what's going on right now with ASC.
Yeah, we are growing leaps and bounds. I started the organization in 2011. We've grown to 9 staff up in Bozeman, Montana. We're bringing in some really, really talented people to help us with everything from project development to donor development. We've just launched a really exciting project with Harvard Medical School where we have a project focused on collecting scat samples from around the world that are the researchers looking at the microbes that we find in those scat samples with the hopes that he can identify a common ancestor for the Enterococcus bacteria. And that bacteria, he believes, holds some keys to really understanding and working towards solutions for antibiotic resistance in humans. Additionally, there's a benefit of being able to create early detection systems for wildlife disease.
Amazing. It's a shitty job, but someone's got to do it.
It's a good one.
Same way as before, like with all the wandering and now a purpose, like for years and years, my mom kept telling me that she thought I was wandering, and I said, well, maybe I'm wandering towards something. And it sounds like you wandered towards something.
Absolutely. It's funny, like I describe my life as a Plinko board. Like I dropped in at the top, the Appalachian Trail was probably not the beginning. It was early experiences I had in the woods. It was, I went on my first backpacking trip I went on when I was 15 or 16, and my leader on that trip, my guide, was a guy named Guy B. Slangen. That was his actual name.
Really?
Guy B. Slangen. And Guy B. had just finished a hike on the Appalachian Trail. And I thought he was an absolute god. I looked up to this man, and I think that was probably some of the formative experiences. I got to see wildlife when I was in Africa and as a kid as well, and that was amazing. And I think that really was the beginning. But the Plinko board has carried me. I didn't know where I was going to go, but it was in the end, if you just isolate the path I did take, it's a linear path getting to where I'm at today. And I never knew where my wandering would take me, but it's been a fun journey for sure.
And speaking of the journey, like how has that transition been from being an adventurer who's always in the field, kind of living by your own time clock, to being the executive director of a nonprofit organization which actually has a lot of constraints and demands on your time?
This one question I've lived with my whole life of how can I as an individual make a difference in the world has driven so much, and I struggled with that in my early 20s and before I came up with some answers for that. And when I created this organization, I instantly found that answer. It was this opportunity to exponentially increase my impact in the world. And so the motivation behind that, the drive that I feel towards that, is all-consuming for me. And so the adventures that I do still get to take are all about that purpose and all about that drive, and I long for those moments and look forward to them. But whether I am sitting in my office in Bozeman talking with my team members at ASC, or I'm meeting with donors, or I'm here at the Outdoor Retailer Show, working with corporate partners like Leap Organics and GoPro and Cliff Bar, and just to give a few shots out to our friends, I'm so motivated by this singular purpose to make ASC successful.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, and you kind of started to delve into that. I was going to say, since we're here at the Outdoor Retailer Show, the research that you gain and the knowledge you get, are you able to share that with the companies that are developing products? And like I know with your microplastics project, one of the discoveries was that a lot of the pollution was actually coming from fleece. Have you been able to use that data and work with these companies and create change?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you approach the corporate partners that we have as partners, rather than an enemy or rather than the problem, it really makes all the difference in the world. And we've been really successful in working with brands to point out these issues. Do we have solutions to every one of these issues? Absolutely not. But we're working towards those solutions together as a team, and that's amazing. I got to speak at the sustainability working group on I think it was Wednesday night, and for all the brands that aren't involved in that, I highly encourage them to look at the Higg Index and look at that working group, because it really is a collection of people who care and want to make a difference. And while we don't have answers yet, it's the brilliant minds in that room working together that are going to find those solutions.
That's awesome. Along the way, I've created this year, in addition to partners like yourself, an Athlete Ambassador Council, one of which is Jeremy Jones, who I know has done work with you. Can you let a little bit about the work you've done with Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy is, as you know, one of the best athletes in the world, an amazing leader for climate change, and his organization, POW, is really exciting. Jeremy went up to the Himalaya and collected snow and ice samples for ASC, and a partner researcher of ours who was formerly at the University of Venice but is now at USGS, based out of Colorado. And her research is all about understanding how glaciers are thinning above 20,000 feet. So we didn't know that before. We didn't know that glaciers were thinning above 20,000 feet, nor did we know that they're thinning from the top down like they are. And she's come up with this revolutionary techniques involving radioactive isotopes and looking at the fallout from radioactivity around the globe to figure that out. And so Jeremy's work over in the Himalaya will help those governments and help those regions prepare for water shortages that may affect up to 2.5 billion people. I mean, it's really, really important work. And it's all related to climate change. You know, the glaciers are thinning partially because of that, but it's about forest fires that are getting bigger and depositing carbon on top of glaciers, which is also a climate change story, but not a direct one. And so it's been really fun to work with Jeremy and his climate-based organization. You can draw those connections to climate for so many things in the world, and Jeremy's been a champion of our cause, and we're really fortunate and lucky to partner with him.
That's awesome. And on the other end of the spectrum, my 5-year-old son adores science, and he likes the outdoors. Is there a place for him to be involved with ASC?
Yeah, absolutely. So citizen science is this movement that has really exploded in the last few years. It's so exciting, and it's the democratization of science. It's the fact that people can go out and participate. And so, our model at ASC is to work with the extreme athletes and the adventurers, and then to have that trickle down to those that look up to those people. And so we have a microplastics project that you can do anywhere on the planet. We want it in backcountry environments. So as long as your 5-year-old can go out and hike and you can get them into the backcountry, then we can take samples from them.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, and thanks so much for being a partner of the festival.
Absolutely. We're really excited, and vote for our film and watch our film. And
which their film is?
Our film is Landmark, American Prairie Reserve, and you're going to love it.
Exactly. We'll see you then.